Alright, so on October 13th in Japan, Square Enix had trademarked the term symbiogenesis, which is the merging of two separate organisms to form a single new organism. That got a lot of people, including myself, speculating that this sounds a lot like Parasite Eve, and does that mean that Parasite Eve could potentially be returning? Well, the answer is no.
So that was a fucking lie.
Because today Square Enix actually announced what symbiogenesis actually is, and at this point I can't even be shocked or surprised anymore. I can just continue to be disappointed.
Fucking thing sucks!
So according to Square Enix, symbiogenesis is a playable NFT collectible art experience. So yes, they are continuing on with this NFT blockchain Web3 stuff that a lot of fans, including myself, just don't want. This is not gonna work. I'm not interested in it, and they're putting their resources into the wrong thing. So the folks over at VGC do have a really nice write-up about this entire situation, so we're going to go over and read some of their article to better explain the situation. So Symbiogenesis is described by the company as its first digital collectible art project designed from the ground up for Web3 fans. According to Square Enix, Symbiogenesis is set in a self-contained world where a wide cast of characters symbiosis, all of which can be collected as digital art. It promises to offer an interactive story in a dedicated community. I don't know about that last bit there. The art collected by players can be used as a character in a story that takes place in an alternate world where the player can untangle a mystery by completing missions that revolve around questions of the monopolization and distribution of resources. This is all kind of ironic to me right now reading all of this. They also state that it also can be used as a social media profile picture. Square Enix says sales of the Symbiogenesis NFTs will begin in spring of 2023 alongside a free browser service. So it looks like there's going to be a paid version, and then there's going to be that free browser version, whatever that's going to be. So this is obviously unsettling for a number of reasons. Square Enix just continues to push forward with NFTs and Web3 and blockchain, which we will get a little bit more to about that instability factor towards the end of the video. But this is concerning because obviously this could lead to Square doing these exact same things with beloved properties like Final Fantasy and Dragon Quest, and maybe even down the line Kingdom Hearts. And before you question, oh well, that's just a slippery slope. It's not really a slippery slope, because back in June, Square Enix did hold a shareholders meeting where they were talking about their plans to create story-focused NFTs. And when asked about implementing this stuff into things like Final Fantasy and Dragon Quest, which are some of their bigger profile games, the president, Yosuke Matsuda, responded by saying it's still too early to consider making Dragon Quest and Final Fantasy blockchain games. Which means that they've had talks about creating blockchain games based on those franchises, and somewhere down the line it's gonna happen whether we like it or not. And we're technically already seeing this with things like Final Fantasy, because months ago Square Enix announced a Cloud Strife action figure that looked really, really cool. It was retailing for like $130, and then there was a Digital Plus edition for $160, and people were confused, like, what do you mean Digital Plus edition? Well, it turns out this action figure, regardless of the version you were buying, was basically an NFT. So by buying these action figures, you were supporting this whole blockchain NFT effort by Square Enix. And it was coming with a digital certificate, and then the digital edition of this action figure had a digital version of the action figure with the digital certificate, which was being supported by an NFT platform named Engine. And the ironic thing about this is that Engine themselves state that they might not even be around in the near future. So you're buying something and earning credits towards a platform that might not exist a year from now. So it all just kind of sounds like one big old scam, and it's really disappointing to see them take this route, and to know that this is probably going to go even further with Final Fantasy and Dragon Quest in the future is very concerning to me. And as long as Yosuke Matsuda is the president, they're going to keep pushing this stuff into their games, which is really disappointing. And it's worrisome because A, we don't want it, but B, it could potentially affect the quality of these games going down the line, because the main focus is going to be how can we implement NFTs? How can we implement the blockchain into this game and really make a profit? You know, knowing this had nothing to do with Parasite Eve, Square Enix probably knew that this would get fans riled up. thinking that a Parasite Eve remake or a sequel of some sorts was on the horizon. It kind of feels like maybe they took advantage of that. It's almost kind of like a Capcom situation in a way with their dinosaur game. Which I'm forgetting the name of at the moment, but it had a character in it that looked exactly like Regina from Dino Crisis, and it didn't end up being a Dino Crisis game, and that character didn't even end up being Regina. So it rubbed a lot of people the wrong way, including myself, and it's just really disappointing to have a president who is just so obsessed with something that is so volatile. NFTs have crashed and burned this year. The blockchain technology is not proven, and I don't think it has a place for games, and to try and shove it into your games, it's really disappointing, it's frustrating, and it's just going to drive a lot of your fan base away because it's not what they want. So all in all, that's the video. Please leave any of your thoughts in your comments down below. What do you guys think about this whole Symbiogenesis thing? It's not Parasite Eve, it's some sort of NFT story-based game. Which sounds really ridiculous. And what are your fears going forward? Do you think sooner rather than later, they're gonna find ways to implement this stuff into things like Final Fantasy VII, into Kingdom Hearts, into Dragon Quest? We're looking at a world where the third part of Final Fantasy VII's trilogy might have some sort of NFT thing shoved into it, which I'm really hoping that does not happen. I don't think it will. I think the whole remake trilogy it's planned out fully. They already know what they're gonna do, and I don't think that NFTs are gonna be shoved into that. It's what comes afterwards that I'm kind of worried about. So I am Curious Corduroy. I will see you guys in the next video. Please remember to always be excellent to one another.